Oh man, well, now I must know, do we learn the value of life? Do we Are we truly able to stop Skynet in the future now because of this? Like, we had people, Dyson essentially kind of sacrificed his life for us. I mean, it was kind of unintentional because I'm sure the plan was for all of us to get out alive, but he didn't make it. So I am going to have to agree with the people who say the second was better. I think just because we have like the first movie is like compounded to the story, so we're already starting out with that background, so it's kind of like unfair to like if we watch this without the first one, it's not going to be the same as it essentially may be, kind of like how we felt watching the first one, if that makes sense. So this one is like has that like compounded effect of the first movie adding on to the overall story, that we have so much more investment into the characters, the story, the plot, and then like those themes of like mom and son, like, you know, obviously those like hit me a lot more because like it's something I can personally relate to. So even like with the scene with Dyson's son, I was like, no, just because again, like I personally can, you know, relate to that moment. But yeah, a lot of thoughts again with the whole like, so how does this change the future, and how does it change the future if we stop it here? Does that end it truly here or what? But like I like the message that like, yeah, it's not all dismal and bleak. There is hope. You can change. Even a Terminator can change. So because she was very very hardened, and like even to her son was like, why did you come for me? Like there was no moment afterwards she's like, hey bud, I'm sorry that I yelled. None of that. You know, like that was her mission. And I feel like I can even talk for like minutes on that, of like what the expectation is of like having to raise the person that is going to have to save humanity, and what that does to you psychologically. Like I feel like I could go in on that, but let's just like take it back for a minute. Like the beginning of the movie, the way it started off, you know, same with the first movie. So I was expecting parallels. We get a Terminator, and they mentioned someone like someone to rescue him, right? So when they sent the other guy, who looked like the cop, I was already like suspicious because he was very well put together. And so at first I was like, is it just because the first guy that came, maybe he was maybe not the best of the best? You know, like maybe he wasn't necessarily like typical, like he was sent back because he was supposed to be dad, and not because maybe he's like the most skilled or whatever. So maybe the other one came with that perfect form. So I was like, okay, maybe. And then he was kind of like cold and, you know, like a prick in a sense. Reese, yeah, Reese, maybe it was just his personality style, like him being a little bit more disheveled. And like, yeah, I was like, man, this guy is just very, you know, type A, very like militant. Like I even commented on his hair because it was just so perfect, like Arnold. So I was like, oh wait, but actually, did they say that in the beginning? When did they say, like, did they say that two cyborgs were sent back, or just two people came back? Because if they mentioned in the very beginning, like, yeah, two cyborgs were sent back, then I was overthinking for no reason. But like, yeah, so I was like, oh, maybe they're gonna throw in a little curveball, and the other one is not on our side either, because he was giving heavy like cyborg vibes, you know. So but in the end of it, like when John was facing Arnold, the Terminator, I was like, oh crap, okay, let's get this, you know, I've been talking smack about you, but yes, thank God you're here to save the day. And then no. So then I was really thrown in for a loop, because like, you know, I throw everything at the wall. When it actually stuck, I was like, okay, so then how is this making sense? Are they competing here for him, like maybe the original one. And that point, I didn't even process the fact that, yeah, he came from the future, so it's definitely not the same one from the past. But I'm like, maybe he's here still trying to complete his mission, and the new one, just have to, like, my brain was just a bit broken in that moment. And then even with mom, it was like, wait, why is he not with mom? But then, yeah, it makes sense that, like, yeah, when you're seeing these dreams all the time, like, you're gonna try to take some desperate measures, and yeah, no one's going to believe you despite what happened and, some of it out in the open. When we were starting, I wasn't sure if we were going to be picking up from him, like when we went to the future again. I thought maybe that's where we're going to be starting our story, him as a grown-up trying to fight the fight, and then seeing the story of how he sent back Reese. But no, we had the same thing again where the Skynet tried to send back the cyborg to destroy him as a kid, which, yeah, how did I could have sworn in the first movie they said, like, after that was all he was able to do, and then it was destroyed or something, or like that was the only power they had left or whatever. But like, I thought we weren't able to do it again, so either it was rebuilt and then they did it and try to destroy him as a kid. But if you can go to any point in time, why? I mean, I guess mom's not there, he's alone. Maybe they thought he would have been the most vulnerable at this stage, because yeah, even as a baby, with mom around, she could probably handle herself and maybe try to, like, maybe the statistics of her being able to protect him were a little bit better than, when he was a little older, but on his own. Why not go like when she's in labor, because she really can't do anything then. Ooh, yeah, let's not get these ideas out just in case something like this really does happen. We don't need these to feed the Since there are other movies, I wonder if we will eventually get to the point where we see him as an adult, like John as an adult, which would be sad. I hope we don't see mom going, because I don't want to see that. But it was great to see Sarah in this new BA, like she plays no games, full on muscle, like combat boots. So yeah, I am going to echo those sentiments that I like this movie better. Not to say that the first wasn't good, like they do feel like two different type of genres, probably also being like a new type of concept. Like cyborgs are all over now, but like seeing it visualized like that for the first time, I'm assuming, that horror thriller kind of vibes of, and then also just first like questioning like computers and how this can go in the future, and then now questioning, but maybe we can still change. It's just because we see where it goes doesn't necessarily mean that is where it's gonna go. But yeah, those visuals were definitely I don't think I even spoke in that part. It was very, yes, it's not like real looking per se, like yes, you can tell like it's a movie, but those images, those descriptions, I did like read a lot about like the bombings in Japan, so like the descriptions, the visuals, like definitely bring back a lot of like haunting visuals, memories, thoughts, and it's something you don't really want to think about, but like, yeah, that possibility is definitely up there. And when all those decisions are now relying on AI, like, and that human component is taken out, it's very interesting to think about what could possibly happen, because like the weight of it may appear very differently when it's based on like an algorithm versus like feelings. But then yeah, this poses an interesting thought of, but what if they can change to value human life as well, and how can that impact the outcome? I don't don't know, it just raises a lot of good questions. And I can sit here and talk a little bit longer, but I'm starving, y'all. I am starving. So I am going to go and eat something quickly. But yeah, and I didn't even comment on John. John was very interesting, of course, very brilliant, smart, like a preteen or teenager. Very much so in the mannerisms and all that. Like, we also did not really tap into the not so good memories that he possibly endured, because she was, as he said, you know, going around with getting around town, just, you know, with, if he was useful, like if he had useful information or knowledge or experience, then, you know, she but also learning in return. So like he knew the deal, but also was around people that are not necessarily good. Like when she said, you know, not getting smacked around, it's like, ooh, okay, yeah, so he's been through some stuff too. But I'm glad he's a good kid at the core. Like he is a decent person. Like when he saw that kid with the dad, he immediately was like, yep, let's go to your room, show me your whatever. So sounds like a good person to be the leader of the future. So hopefully we get to see that in some of the other movies, like I said. And let me go grab some lunch. I already know, like I already feel like this one's going to be voted to be edited down. If it's not, I will be very, very, very surprised. I thoroughly enjoyed it. Thank you for watching. The full-length reaction is available on Patreon, so make sure you check it out. There are also some other movies there in case you don't know. I have a weekly poll now for what movies will be edited and published onto YouTube, but if you join the Maki tier, where you get the uncut reactions, I have like 1 or 2 movies a week, depending on time and requests, that I will be posting as well. So I hope y'all are having a great week. Judgment Day. Let's hope that when Judgment Day comes, y'all, we make it out. And I'll see you in the next movie. Bye, guys.